The Haunting of Blackwood Manor. In the heart of the English countryside, surrounded by dense forests and misty hills, stood Blackwood Manor, an ancient mansion with a dark history. The manor had been abandoned for decades, its windows shattered and its walls covered in ivy. Local villagers often spoke in hushed tones about the eerie lights that flickered in its windows at night, and the ghostly figures that were sometimes seen wandering its grounds. It was a cold October evening when a group of friends, intrigued by the legends of Blackwood Manor, decided to explore its haunted halls. Emily, Jack, Sarah, and Tom were all thrill seekers, always on the lookout for their next adventure. Armed with flashlights and a sense of bravado, they set off for the manor, determined to uncover the truth behind the ghost stories. As they approached the manor, the air grew colder, and an unnatural silence enveloped them. The creaking of the rusty gate sent shivers down their spines. They pushed open the heavy wooden door, which groaned in protest, and stepped into the grand foyer. The air inside was musty, and the smell of decay was overpowering. The group split up, each taking a different part of the house to explore. Emily and Jack headed upstairs, while Sarah and Tom investigated the ground floor. The old wooden floorboards creaked under their weight, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Emily and Jack found themselves in a long hallway lined with portraits of the manor's former residents. The faces in the paintings seemed to follow them with their eyes, their expressions filled with sorrow and anger. As they reached the end of the hallway, they heard a soft, whispering sound. They turned to see a faint, ghostly figure of a woman in a tattered dress, her eyes hollow and filled with despair. She pointed towards a door at the end of the hallway before vanishing into thin air. Meanwhile, Sarah and Tom had discovered a hidden staircase leading to the basement. The air grew colder as they descended, and an overwhelming sense of dread washed over them. The basement was filled with old furniture covered in white sheets, cobwebs hanging from every corner. In the center of the room stood an old wooden chest. Tom, driven by curiosity, pried it open. Inside the chest, they found a collection of old letters and photographs. The letters told the tragic story of the Blackwood family, who had lived in the manor over a century ago. The family had been cursed by a vengeful spirit, leading to a series of mysterious deaths and disappearances. The spirit, it seemed, was that of a young maid who had been wronged and murdered by the family patriarch. As they read the final letter, a chilling breeze swept through the basement, extinguishing their flashlights. The room plunged into darkness, and the temperature dropped further. They heard the faint sound of footsteps approaching and saw a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness. The figure was the same ghostly woman Emily and Jack had seen upstairs. Sarah and Tom ran upstairs to find their friends. The group reunited in the foyer, their faces pale with fear. They decided it was time to leave, but as they reached the front door, it slammed shut with a deafening bang. The ghostly woman appeared before them, her eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and rage. She raised her hand, and the friends felt an invisible force pushing them back. "We must set her free," Emily whispered, recalling the ghost's earlier gesture towards the door upstairs. They raced back to the hallway and opened the door the ghost had indicated. Inside, they found a small, dusty room with a single painting on the wall. The painting depicted the young maid, her eyes filled with sadness. Understanding what they had to do, they took the painting and carried it to the grand foyer. As they placed it in the center of the room, the ghostly figure appeared once more. Her expression softened and she began to fade away, her spirit finally at peace. The front door creaked open and the friends hurried out of the manor, never looking back. Blackwood Manor stood silent once more, its dark history now just a memory. The villagers noticed that the eerie lights and ghostly figures ceased to appear, and the manor was eventually reclaimed by the forest. Emily, Jack, Sarah, and Tom never spoke of that night again, but they knew they had encountered something truly terrifying. Blackwood Manor remained a place of mystery and legend, its haunting presence a reminder of the past that could never be forgotten. I hope you enjoyed the story.